Welcome back to ATL Day Ones. I am Tenitra. That is Jarvis, and we appreciate you guys, as always, for pulling up to ATL Day Ones. And also, when you download us to your podcast platforms, wherever you get your podcast, make sure that you give us a 5-star review because you know what? We appreciate it every time you do. Also, appreciate you guys for continuing to subscribe to the whole Locked On Sports Atlanta network because you guys are getting us right there at the point of 3,000 subscribers, and we appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys understanding and appreciating that we bring you the good every single day. And speaking of good, we know that a lot of good things are coming out of Flowery Branch this far. Training camp, of course, 7 days in. The guys are taking a day off today. They'll get right back at it tomorrow, right? But here's something interesting as well, kind of projecting to the regular season before we deep dive into what's gone on so far at training camp, right? So regular season, the Falcons are going to open week 1 against the Saints, right? And so
Mhm.
Fox Sports posed an interesting question that I wanted to run by you before we start talking about training camp. And that is, which team has the best stadium in the NFC South? So let me ask you this first, Jarvis. Have you been to all 4 stadiums? Of course, the Benz, we know, but have you been to Bank of America Stadium? Have you been to the Dome, the Superdome, that is? And have you been to Raymond James? So let's start there.
I have not been to Raymond James, and I have not been to the Superdome. So yeah, I'm
It's not
actually
that.
yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
you're
you
going to be
from
partial
there, and
by
you never
default.
invited me, so I'm blaming you. I blame you today.
And I'm blaming you because New Orleans people don't have to invite because we have an open invitation for the whole wide world. Just
Yes,
saying. Our
that's
whole
true.
city is
That's true.
always 24 hours on one for you to come
Always
check
open.
us out.
Hmm.
Now, I will tell you, I have actually been to all 4 stadiums. And for me, Jarvis, it would be the dome just because of the intimacy. I don't know how you get that intimate with that big of a spot. And I don't
Yeah,
know how some place that is that old is still like so on par, but it's something about the flavor of it. Like when you say the dome, everybody knows exactly what you're talking about, right? But
hmm,
I will say this, and for me, I probably put Bank of America Stadium on the bottom. Just being honest. Raymond James has had a lot of upgrades. It's right there by the Bucks facility as well, so that's kind of a cool concept, if you will. And it's not
right.
really hard to get to. So other than being open air and it being blazing sometimes in Tampa, that's a good look. Dome is a good look. That's kind of my home stadium. But I got to tell you, the Benz is on fire. I don't even think this is a contest with what Arthur Blank has done with that amazing building. And at the end of the day, who is going to turn down free refills? Free refills? I mean, a $2 drink, and then you get to refill it ad nauseum, at least through the third quarter of all the games there. So
Yes.
listen, if it's me and I'm doing a tour of the NFC South stadiums, I have to start with the Benz.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you talk about a B in front of how much the stadium costs,
Right.
starts with B, ends with alien. Yeah, yeah. I think the conversation is pretty much over right there. But
There you go.
I think it's something that it's something to be said about the investment going into these
Mhm.
stadiums nowadays, and
Yeah.
then when you talk about these type, start having these type of conversations, you think
Mhm.
about it like now. Don't get me wrong. New Orleans from afar, it
Yeah.
always has seemed like a great environment. Like that place is
Mhm.
rocking on
Rocking
Sundays.
all day.
But I think that when you talk about the actually going to the place and being in that
Mhm.
establishment and not necessarily being a New Orleans fan, I want to see what you're working with. I want to see what how much money you don't put into the doggone thing. And I think that that's Mercedes Benz hands down.
Now, it's a good debate, and if you really want to know kind of the favorite in that race, the over under on what where fans would call it, I would say if you went to BetOnline, you could figure that out. Or if you wanted to just get the tea about which one it is and kind of sip your tea while you debate on which stadium is the best stadium, then maybe you should go to Coffee AM for that. Right, Jarvis?
No doubt about it. And I'm talking about first thing in the morning when you're
Yeah.
ready to get this bad boy because this is the freshest coffee that you can get. And Coffee AM, they got you covered because most of it is going to be roasted and shipped the same day or as close as they can possibly get because that's how much they care about you as the consumer. Because I'm always drinking my Coffee AM. I'm representing for those you listening on audio wise. I got my Coffee AM cup right here in my hand. Now,
Indeed.
guess what? Got a special deal for you guys. This is some quality stuff. Now, this is they only roast current crop specialty grade coffee. That's all they do. That's all they get down. But they got a special deal just for you. I want you to go to coffeeam.com
Yes.
/locked on. coffeeam.com/locked on and go to the coupon code box. Put in the box locked on. See how easy that is? Go to coffeeam.com/locked on. Put in the coupon code box and drop locked on in the box, and you're gonna get 15% off. And you're gonna have access to all the coffee, teas, and everything that you want. Anything that you want. You hear T and I talking about this thing all the time.
Good
We're
job.
not playing. We are for real. We have tasted this stuff and it is legit. Go ahead,
Yeah.
coffeeam.com/locked on. Drop in the code. You're gonna get 15% off. That's locked on. Do it right now.
Now, as you can see, Jarvis is up and ready to rock and roll because of his coffee AM. And the thing that we're interested to see, however, is if Marcus Mariota is going to be ready to roll. And why do we talk about Mariota? Well, he made a statement this week during training camp. Quote, it's a great opportunity for me to prove not only to myself, but to those who believed in me, Mariota said. So I'm excited. The last couple of years was a great reset. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from being there, of course, meaning with the Titans. I feel ready to go. Now, the Falcons themselves seem to be headed in the right direction, right? In terms of establishing a culture, a competitive culture, Jarvis. Up and down that roster, you look at the coaching staff as well. People feel like they have a lot to prove. Maybe even Mariota, because you're talking about a guy who's gone through injuries, losing his job and kind of sitting on the sidelines essentially for 2 years. So my question to
Right.
you is this. Can Mariota establish himself as the leader of this team, especially on offense? And is it all about proving that this preseason? Or is this something where he's already proven himself and then it is Desmond Ritter's job to maybe prove that he can usurp Mariota from that starting position?
First off, to answer your question, yes, I think so. And here's why. When you look at football
Mhm.
players are really good, have really pretty decent judges of character, right? Like when they meet somebody, they can pretty much tell kind of the vibes, right? Especially in football, because it's easy to come out, right? They could tell if you're a slacker. They could tell if you're a guy that can really just do what that's going to do what he's supposed to do, or if you're going to kind of fool around a little bit. And Marcus Mariota, I think he's done that and proved that to his teammates so far. And also, I like what he said in that quote. He said
Mhm.
he wants to prove the people right that believe in him. And most of the time, you always talk about people having chips on their shoulder and everything like that. I like his mindset. I like how he approaches things, that's the type of mindset that can kind of bleed over into your teammates. That can kind of you get
True.
to the point where you can just surround the troops, so to speak, in those tough times, or when they need a play needs to be made. And I think that Marcus Mariota is that guy to be able to do that. And
Mhm.
I think that his teammates have been talking about him throughout training camp. You can understand it, and I think that we're going to see a guy that is ready to take on this role and move forward.
Agreed. And you're talking about something where there are two words that we're hearing a lot out of Flowery Branch, and that is consistency and competition. And
Yep.
Mariota seems like he is embracing that, right? And you look at the fact that he's taken the vast majority of the reps with the first unit. That's kind of telling, at least, with that offensive line. And just in terms of working with the pass catchers, getting those backs in line for, catching balls out of the backfield, working with those new guys and looking very comfortable, not just with Kyle Pitts as somebody who's new to Mariota, but with Drake London, somebody who's actually new to the league. So a
Right.
lot of that is what Arthur Smith also talked about. He talked about the offensive line as well as the quarterback and needing to see that both of them could really control things at the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, it's interesting. And who knows, Jarvis? When you look at Ryan Tannehill, he went to the Titans, and that was a resurgence of his career. Who knows? This move, interestingly enough, now with Arthur Smith and Mariota here to Atlanta, could be a resurgence of his career as well. And Jarvis, I know you'd agree with me that whether it's Mariota or whether it's Ritter, and they are competing at this high level, that is nothing but good things for the Falcons. Nothing but good things for them. So when we come back in for the culture, speaking of good things, funny things, hilarious things, it'll be interesting to see if you are ready for football. I know we say that we are, but some people are kind of laughing like, not quite ready for what we're going to see on that field tonight in the Hall of Fame game. We'll talk about that. And then there's the debate on whether or not we're playing semantics on what looks good. We'll talk about it on the other side.